Okay, so I'm going to go over some final scene setup stuff, kind of talk about how to get furniture in here, and talk about how to set up the daylight, the sun, so it's in the right position for each shot, and maybe do some final composition of trees and final material setup, tweaking final materials. One of the things the first things I'll show you how to do is rotate the sun around so you can get that in the right spot and possibly change the HDRI image to be a different sky so you get a different effect depending on what you want to do. So I think what I'm going to do first is hide the trees, which I don't have grouped yet, do I? Let's see if I can do that. It's going to be in the display groups right there. I think it's under tree line. There we go. And I'm going to right click, hide selection, and this will just make for rendering a little bit faster. Looks like I've got another tree in there right there. I'm going to hide that as well. Then I'm also going to select the plane and turn off what's going on here with my modifier list. There we go. So I'm going to turn off the V-Ray displacement so it just renders really fast. I just want to be able to do a quick render. Obviously it's going to be a little bit overexposed from what the final image will be because there are no trees in the scene. This is actually underexposed, isn't it? Really dark. But when I make adjustments, it's probably going to end up being overexposed. Look at that, I can see the sun right there. How funky is that? So that looks like I've got a night sky in there right now. And I got to do a couple of house cleaning things. One of the things you'll notice is that I'm not getting any shadows inside or any hard direct sunlight inside the house. We have to take this little thing in the sun, which is affect shadows right here. Just make sure you've got that selected, affect shadows on the daylight. And then I'm going to go ahead and swap this out, the HDR image. If this isn't here, if you don't have this map here, go to Get Material. Under your scene materials, you should see it right here, this map 16 or map whatever number it is, but it'll say V-Ray HDRI, and slide it into position like that. And here I can go underneath here, I can go to browse to set a different image, and I've given you in your Viz folder in the material libraries a bunch of HDR images. If you want to know what each of these are, you can go to your material library. There's a catalog right here, this PDF that you can pull up, and this will sort of show you what each of those images are, and you can decide which one you want to work with, and you can kind of see the difference between each of them and how they affect a scene. 3 is a good sort of standard one. 2 isn't bad. You can sort of see what effect it has, how orange 3 is versus how blue some of the others are. And you can kind of decide what you want to do. I think 8's a really beautiful one. If anybody wants to play with night shots, if you want really hard shadows, you might want to do 3, and so on. So let me set it at 3 for now, and we can play with that. In general, the way they've set this up, the way Viz people made these is 1 through 10 is morning to night. So 3, 4, and 5 are kind of midday. So if you want to change that, you can. So I'm going to go with 3. Whoops, I didn't mean to do it there. Let's do it here. So it should change here in this, so I see it the way it is right there. Hit the render button, see what happens. Oh, it looks like it's not changing. So maybe I've got something not mapped correctly. Let me see what's going on here. I'm going to hit H. Actually, what I'm going to do is show you the V-Ray light lister. Sorry about that. I'm going to go under Tools, V-Ray light lister. Not to be confused with the max stock one. You want to use the V-Ray one. And this shows me all the lights that are in the scene, and right now we just have one. If I click this guy, it selects it. So here's my light. Scroll down, there's map 16. Put that there as an instance just to make sure it's there. And I'll hit the render button. That's looking a little bit more accurate. A little bit of a glitch there. I'm not sure what that was about, but we're in. So it looks like I've got some shadow here. It's a little bit dim. You know, if I want to do this as a scene that has really hard shadows, I might need to make some adjustments. I'm not totally crazy about this yet. And it's still a little bit dark. So let's see what I can do. First, I think what I'll do is turn the sun. And let me see if I set it at 0, what that does. So you can see why I want that, to turn off the trees, because this goes a little faster. See, I'm getting a little bit of a hard shadow right there, which is nice. I'll probably get some nice streaky shadows along the floor from the windows. You kind of start to see it. If I want to really crank this up, if I want to turn up the effect of the sun, and make harder shadows, the easiest way to do that is in the V-Ray HDRI, in the material itself. If you go down, if you scroll down here to the color space and set this to inverse gamma, it should already be there. If you just take this down a tiny bit, just down to like 0.9, then you should see a pretty big effect. Oof, yeah. See really hard shadows there now. Really, really nice, hitting the ground really well. So now I might want to compose these lines. I might want to think about, you know, where do I want this shadow line to come in? You can see where the sun is at when you set it at 0. It's kind of right there in the horizontal rotation. So maybe I want to play around with that, and maybe I want to rotate that 90 degrees. Let's see what happens. It is coming right at me. And this might look kind of weird without the trees, but actually once I put the trees in, this could be a really amazing image. One of the nice things about having the sun right smack in front of you, actually it's right here, there's the sun, is that you get the effect of all of the reflections, the reflect glossiness in a lot of the materials. You can see it in the wood and the floor, even in the glass. We're getting some really interesting reflections happening. So that becomes a very reflective scene, which obviously we want. So that's kind of cool. And you also, when it's coming at you like this, you can sort of see it come through the trees, and the trees can sort of start to create some interesting shadows inside. So I think I might leave that. That might be my scene for this one. So now I'm going to bring in some furniture and some other stuff. So the way that I do that is to go up to the big M. I don't even know what that is, but it's the thing. And I go import. Oh, come on, import. And then I'm going to go to merge. Instead of import, I'm going to go to merge, because I have a bunch of max scenes that I can merge into this scene. And I have a lot more options when I merge a max file than when I just import an object. And so then I'm going to go up to my viz folder and go to the import folder, and here's all this stuff. So let me start with a chair, a nice simple chair. Here are all these options for chairs, and you can sort of start to import them and see which ones you like. I'm going to start with this pod chair, which I think is kind of funky. I need to select it in here. If I just click OK, nothing comes in. I need to make sure I select it here and hit OK. And now I really don't see it anywhere, right? But it's in here. So if I have this window active, if I zoom in here, I can see there it is. If I go to my move tool, make sure it stays selected, then I can start to move this into place. And I think it's sort of around here in the house. Then I'm going to come back over here, pushing my mouse wheel to come over here, and move it on up. And I like to move it, you can see that little white line at the bottom. See how it disappears? I want to get this position as close as possible to being on the floor, and the way to do it is right when that line disappears. That's exactly where I want it. So I'll go here. Kind of want to move this closer to me. Maybe I just want to do this. I think I want to rotate it. Then I want to move it a little bit more. Maybe it belongs in that corner like that. And then I also, the one thing you want to think about, and again, you can go back to the some of the links I sent you about composing these scenes, but I might want to have something in the foreground. So I'm going to go to import again, merge, and maybe I'll get something else. Maybe I'll do a light fixture, and I'll do a table lamp. No, I'm going to do a floor lamp. Large pen, I'm going to do that floor lamp. And here I need to select all this stuff. It brought it in, but it's over here. Go to my move tool. Back here. Pull it on up. Get it so that, those little white ticks on the bottom, those little white marks are gone. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stick this guy. I'm going to stick this guy right here. And then I'm going to go Control-C, Control-V, and copy an instance of him. And where do I want it? Where do I want it? It's a really weird scene. And you know, I might want to fill this out with something else too. Let me just try to import. It's looking really weird right now. I want to get this looking better. I've got some furnishings. I'm not really crazy about any of those. Let's see if I can find another chair. Let's try this one, the ego one, which has some relationship to the other chair that I just brought in. I'm gonna, whenever this happens with these, you want to auto rename. It's a little bit funny, but you have to make sure, because some of these objects that come in have the same object subnames in them. So moving it over here. Come on up until I get like that, something like that. Kind of dig this. I actually think I'd rather do that, and then maybe I'll just lose this. And you'll see how this came in multiple objects, so it'll do it like that. So let me render this and see how it goes. All of these guys, these pieces of furniture, come with materials. You may need to adjust them as you go to get them the way you want them. That's not bad. I do need something here, probably. It also looks a little funny, like it's sort of strange that anyone would ever furnish a space like this. It's like two people that really, really don't like each other. And one gets the better chair for some reason. So that's pretty much it. I think, let me turn that guy back on and see if that's, at least compositionally, I'm not too opposed to this. It is a little like, you know, these chairs got together and formed a rock band, and this is their album cover. They're not, yeah, it's weird, but compositionally, I'm okay with it. You know, the architecture's not being interrupted by the furniture; it's being scaled by it, which is the most important thing. So I'm going to go right-click, unhide all, and I'm going to hit the render button. And when I do, I'll do that, and then we'll come back.